going to go on to the fog thing. However, before we get into the fog stuff, and I've actually got articles, 2 different articles here, to actually confirm about people getting sick from fog. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I want to show you something else before we get there. Because this goes into the whole drone thing, and this goes into every single damn thing that the YouTubers want to go freak out about, right? Now, these are facts that I've kept up on for a long time, like since the 90s. And I periodically look at what the numbers are. And now, thanks to like ChatGPT and other tools, it's real super simple. So, I asked ChatGPT about the power of suggestion. And basically, give me statistics about psychology and the power of suggestion. So I want you to understand that whether it be drones, whether it be fog, whether it be your underwear creeping up on you, there are a whole hell of a lot of people out there that will make untrue claims for whatever reason that they have. And I'm going to show you. Per ChatGPT, use any AI or don't use AI, just use Google, whatever, verify this stuff, please. The power of suggestion has been studied extensively in psychology, particularly in fields like memory, social influence, and behavioral suggestion. Below are some relevant statistics and findings. Memory and suggestion. Number 1, false memories. Studies, such as those by Elizabeth Loftus, show that around 30% of participants can develop false memories after being presented with suggestive information. For example, in one experiment, participants were asked about a fictitious childhood event, like an example being like being lost in a shopping mall, and many came to remember it as if it had actually happened. Number 2, eyewitness testimony. Research suggests that leading questions or suggestive interviewing can lead to inaccuracies in 30 to 40% of eyewitness accounts. That's a pretty damn big number. Compliance and social influence. Number 1, Ash conformity experiments, about 75% of participants conformed to an obviously incorrect answer at least once when influenced by group pressure. Number 2, Milgram experiment. Although not directly about suggestion, about 65% of participants were persuaded to deliver what they believed were harmful electrical shocks due to the authority figure's suggestions. Again, not really related, but I read it anyway. Behavioral suggestion. Number 1, placebo effect. You've heard about that before. Roughly 35 to 45% of people report experiencing a positive effect from a placebo when told it will help, showing the power of suggestion in physical and emotional perception. Number 2, priming and behavioral outcomes. Subtle suggestions, such as exposing participants to words related to aging, have been shown to influence behavior. For example, in one study, participants walked slower after being exposed to such words. Interesting. And lastly, the last section here, lying or saying something untrue. Number 1, false statements under suggestion. Studies have found that under suggestive questioning, about 20 to 25% of participants will say something they know is untrue, especially if they feel social pressure or believe it is expected of them. 20 to 25% of people, almost 1 in 4. Number 2, social desirability bias. People tend to conform to what they believe others expect. Around 15 to 30% of participants may report false beliefs or actions to align with perceived norms. It's not an uncommon thing. Not even close. So, pardon me when I become Mr. Jackass, because I don't just hop on the train or hop on the wagon. Because this is something that I've paid attention to. I literally, ever since I was young, pre-teen, have been interested in human behavioral psychology. And I have spent copious amounts of time, all throughout my entire life, with the exception of before I could, studying such. This is nothing new. The numbers are higher than what they used to be by quite a bit. Why? Well, I've got to be honest here. We've got a society of attention seekers, narcissists, and what's the other word? Hypochondriacs. We literally have a society built on that. That's what a lot of the entertainment media is trying to draw out of people. That's what social media is trying to draw out of people. Got a dog that's chewing, and chewing is banned in this house. Huff at me all you want. Anyway, so I think it's important to cover that stuff before we go into this, because I know a lot of people think that my attitude towards a lot of this kind of stuff is just completely bogus. It's not baseless. You may think it's bogus all you want. You got that right to your opinion. But it's not baseless. It's based on fact. There are a lot of people out there that will say things that are not true just for whatever reason they have. Sometimes they just want to believe something. Sometimes they want other people to believe something. And there are various reasons. And that's why I kind of laugh at, for instance, when you have channels like Bear that does this intel thing where people send him in stuff, and there's other channels that do that where people send them in information and it's first-hand knowledge and there's this and that and the other thing. Full Spectrum Survival does it a lot. And 90% of the time, it's so obviously BS. It's unreal. So, what do you do? What do you do? Again, the only way to stop this is to call them out. I'm not weak. I'm not going to avoid calling them out when they're doing something very wrong. It is very, very wrong to mislead people. That is like very wrong. I don't gauge things by who says it or anything of the such. I gauge things by right or wrong. That's it. That's the only labels that I put on things. Right or wrong. On people, good or bad. That's it. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what nationality you are. I don't care what religion you are. Are you a good person? Great. Are you a bad person? Stay away from me. So, and there are groups of people that automatically fall into the bad category. Just what it is what it is, right? I'm not going to become close with a neo-Nazi, as an example. You know what I mean? So there are groups of people that I will stay away from, but that's because they are clearly on the bad list. Is what it is. That's how I base life. That's how I base life. I have so much clarity with that. It's a lonely life. It's a damn lonely life, especially with today's society. But that's how I have clarity, and that's how I can keep walking true. Because I just look at those things. Are they a good person? Are they a bad person? Pretty simple. Is it bad? Is it good? Whatever. It's pretty simple. Really straightforward. But we have to be motivated to do that. We have to have the desire to do that. We have to want what's right. And that's where things get a little sticky. So anyway, about this fog. It's a real thing. I can't speak to these current happenings as to whether or not people are actually getting sick because I don't personally know them. But it is absolutely possible, and we're going to go into that. So this fog thing. This is from a website WJON. I guess it's AM and FM radio. And it asks the question, could all the fog we've had lately make you sick? And this is what it has to say. It sure has been foggy around central Minnesota lately. It seems like the fog has found an area it truly enjoys hanging around. You might have even heard someone say they're sick of the fog, or did they say something else? Did they say they're sick from the fog? My wife wasn't feeling well yesterday, and she mentioned to me that people online were talking about how the fog was making them sick. To be honest, I gave an eye roll when she said it. Of course, I did the eye roll when she wasn't looking, but it got me thinking, can the fog make you sick? And it turns out, it can. I did a simple search online, and there are actually a few ways fog can have an adverse effect on your health. The first thing that can be affected is your breathing. I read a couple of different sites that echoed the same sentiments that people who struggle with asthma or COPD are likely to experience more difficulty than normal. And I can vouch for that. I don't have to wait for the fog. If I don't turn on the vent fan when I'm taking a shower, I have trouble. A lot of trouble because of my COPD. There are times that I didn't turn it on, and I've had to just open the door, turn the water off, open the shower door. We just got a stall. We don't got like a full tub or nothing. We just got a shower stall. And I've had to open the door to the stall with the water turned off and let some of that kind of die down a little bit because it chokes me. I literally cannot breathe at all. So I can confirm that. Folks who have cardiovascular issues can also find themselves not feeling well. One of the main reasons fog affects breathing is because fog can mix with pollutants in the air to form smog, which can get into your lungs, which complicates your breathing. Even if you don't struggle with breathing problems on the regular, you could still notice a difference and may start as something simple as coughing or wheezing. Another way fog can cause you not to feel well is because you are straining your eyes to see, which can cause your eyes to feel weak and your head to hurt. If your eyes are affected, that could cause your stomach to not feel good too. You could feel nausea or even vomiting if your eyes are strained. This could be a sign of a bigger issue with your eyes than you may want to get checked with an eye doctor. Can it make you sick? Absolutely. In fact, the first article that I read on this subject was here, and it actually talks a little bit about a movie, but it explains something that happened in the movie and explained that it really did happen. It says here, the title, The Deadly Fog in the Crown, was real. Here's the rest of the story. In Netflix hit show On the Royals, there's an unbelievable story about air pollution, but the Great Smog of London was all too real and still relevant today. And this was published like a year ago. As Netflix's The Crown gains popularity, more people are seeing an early episode involving the Great Smog of 1952. In this real-life crisis, thousands of Londoners died from 5 days of heavy fog laced with air pollution. 5 days is what I meant to say, of fog that was heavy with pollutants. Thousands of people died. So it's not a joke. But the reason why I wanted to go over the results from ChatGPT here is because we've got a whole lot of people in this country that like to copycat, like to be the center of attention, like to be hypochondriacs, just check off the boxes. And they can't but help themselves. Oh, I'm one of them. That's not anything abnormal. However, it's much enhanced today with the internet and social media. So, whenever you hear stuff like this, just keep those numbers in the back of your head that about 1 in 4 people are going to be totally lying. And about another 1 in 4 people are going to be misremembering things. So right there, you've got 50% of the people that you're not getting a straight story from. if you have any more questions about that, go do some research about asking questions to people after an incident, like the police asking people questions and stuff like that. It is highly common for things to get misremembered, for things to be forgotten at one time, maybe remembered another time, or maybe something that they thought they remembered right away but then forgot about later. It happens. That's the human mind, and that's not anybody doing anything wrong. It's just what it is. So whenever you hear this stuff, and especially if you see the media take off with it, and if you see social media take off with it, really start holding a grain of salt to stuff, because you can pretty well bet at least half of the people are either misremembering or just completely lying to begin with. So, important to remember that, in my opinion. I don't know. I kind of like the truth myself.